Energylandia in Poland only opened in 2014 with a handful of family rides and attractions. Back then it was a small family park, and over the years it has grown with rapid expansion to have 19 roller coasters, which is actually more than any theme park anywhere in the world. Who'd have thought when this park opened that it would grow to have that many rides and also some absolutely incredible world-class coasters as well. Along with that, it is still very much a family park with water rides, boat rides, dark rides and so much more all packed in to this huge park. In this video I'm going to count down my top 10 favourite rides at Energylandia. This is a park that I've been to many times over the years and have really seen the growth with new attractions opening at this park. Of course, as always with these videos, I would love to know your list and how it varies to mine. Comment down below on this video with your top 10 rides at Energylandia. And here we go, I'm going to start down with counting down my top 10, and in 10th place it is a family roller coaster known as Choco Chip Creek. This is a Vekoma mine train that opened in 2024, and with this ride it's actually located in the Sweet Valley themed area of the park. Now Sweet Valley is really colourful and vibrant, got lots of nice theming around, lots of great little features all throughout the area, and what makes this coaster for me is the fact it's a good long family coaster. Now it hasn't got a huge amount of theming on the ride, you have got some like chocolate chip kind of mountains that they've made on there, look kind of cartoonish, which do fit with the theme of that area, the whole of Sweet Valley, so I can see exactly why they did that. In terms of the ride experience though, it is very long. It's split into 3 sections, it's got 3 lift hills, various different drops and helixes around as well. You can't go wrong with a good Vekoma mine train. Of course, there's so many great ones around the world. Big Thunder Mountain at the Disney parks is like right at the top when it comes to mine train coasters. But I think of like Calamity Mine at Wallaby, Belgium. That's another fantastic ride like this. But yeah, this is a good ride. I wish it had a little bit more theming around it. But still, it's an enjoyable ride. It's smooth, it's long, and yeah, it's just a nice family coaster, Choco Chip Creek. Right then, into 9th place now in my list, and we're going to a water ride now. This is Anaconda. Now this is an intermittent shoot-the-chute ride that's been operating since 2017. So the park opened in 14 and then it's really started to grow very much each year. And what Energylandia did wasn't just like putting in one ride a year, they put in multiple rides and full areas year after year. A huge amount of investment going into this park. It has slowed down quite a bit now the past couple of years, as I'll mention later in the video. I'll share a bit more details, but what we've really seen with this is year after year they were just installing attractions. And yeah, Anaconda intermittent water ride. It features 2 drops, 1 medium and 1 large. This ride doesn't really have much theming around, and we did see that in the early installs what Energylandia put in. They aren't really heavily themed rides, but I think that's another reason why they managed to expand so much. They bought the ride hardware, they went to good manufacturers such as Intamin and bought these rides, but then they didn't really theme them up that heavy. The station's quite nice for this, but yeah, it's very much a standard shoot-the-chute flume ride, but it is very good and nice and fun as well. You do get quite wet on here, especially on the last drop, but yeah, the fact you've got 2 drops on there as well is really good. In an ideal world, it'd have all nice themed rock work and structures around it, but it is what it is. It's a good fun ride, and Anaconda had to make it into this list because of that. Into 8th place now, and it's another water ride. This time it's an Intamin River Rapids. Now this is a very fast ride as you're going round. I do like it. It's quite long as well, and compared to Anaconda it's got a bit more to look at in terms of theming around. It's nicely landscapes, and the waterfalls on this are what make it so fun. A lot of the time on an Intamin Rapids ride, or any rapids in general, you're going round and you can see the waterfalls kind of at the side, but you don't really fully go under them. With this, there's a couple of moments where the waterfalls do come fully out over the boats, and honestly you can get absolutely soaked, dripping wet through, which is always good fun. But I think that does make it how you've got the waterfalls on this ride. Rapids is always good fun with the interactions anyway, but it's nice this, it's got all the clean filtered water, the troughs all nicely painted up in blue, and it's nicely landscaped around. Again, it hasn't got loads of scenery, but it's just a great ride, and yeah, it had to be in this list just because of them waterfalls. I've had so many funny moments on there over the years, so many laughs riding on Jungle Adventure. Excellent intermittent river rapids. Right then, into another coaster now, which is in 7th place. Another family coaster, actually, this one, but it's very good. It is Light Explorers. So this is located in the Aqualantis themed area of the park, which is a beautiful themed area. It kind of is like the world of Atlantis. You've got all the water around, some great buildings and planting, all comes together in a very immersive experience. But Light Explorers is a Vekoma family boomerang. It's been operating since 2021, and what I do love about this ride is the views that you get. Of course, with all these family boomerangs, you go up the lift hill backwards, so you get a nice view. This is actually built over the water as well. You got a boat ride that runs around there. There's a Zamper of the Disco. So it all comes together in a really nice area. And then you drop forwards back through the station and some nice transitions, some good twists and turns, low to the ground over water. But that really adds to it. And that's the thing with these family boomerang coasters from Vekoma. They're very smooth, very enjoyable. They're not the longest of rides, but they're just great family rides. And then you go up into the spike, which is actually 79 foot tall. So it is quite a tall one, that. Again, it's placed over the water. Yeah, about 3/4 of the way up there before coming backwards, back through the same layout again, as it is a boomerang coaster, of course, before coming a little bit back up the lift hill and back into the station. In terms of the presentation and the theming on this, it is really good. It's better than the other one that they've got in the park. Crazy, isn't it? Yeah, they've got 19 coasters. 2 of them are family boomerangs. They've got 2 in the same park. The other ones, not quite as good as this, but yeah, I did really enjoy my rides on Light Explorer. And yeah, the fact that it's built out over the water certainly adds to the overall look and feel of this ride. Right then, into 6th place now, and the most generic roller coaster name ever, but it's a good ride. It's Dragon Roller Coaster. This only opened in 2015, so this was actually a year after the park originally opened. And back then, you can tell that when you walk into Energylandia, you have got a lot of kind of, tacky, over-the-top kind of theming. Over the years, they've really refined their style choices, should we say, as they've made new rides and themed areas. And we've seen that at the back of the park with the likes of Abyssus and Zadra, Hyperion to an extent as well. They've really started to add more theming in. This opened, the second year of this park operating, 2015, and it's a Vekoma family suspended coaster. These again are great fun rides, so many of them around the world, but what I love about the Dragon roller coaster is the first drop and down into the big dragon's mouth. You got all the water around as well, there's mist effects, and yeah, that really looks the part as you drop down into that. And actually on the back, it's quite forceful for a family coaster. Really good, nice and smooth once again. New Vekomas aren't they? And there's quite a few in this list of Vekoma rides at this park. But yeah, it's just a good fun ride. It's that big overbank, lots of different drops and twists and turns, a couple of helixes in there as well. And it's just an enjoyable layout on this ride. Yeah, the overall feel of it is good with the theming around there as well and having it out over the water. But yeah, it's got a top speed of 47 miles per hour as well, which, for a family coaster is a pretty high top speed, isn't it, really? Right then, we're down to the halfway point now in my list of top 10 rides at Energylandia in Poland. And it's another Vekoma coaster. This time it's a spacewalk model and it's called Formula. So this opened in 2016. See what I mean? It was like back-to-back investments, lots of different things coming into the park. Yeah, 2016 this opened, 0 to 49 miles an hour launch on this ride in 2 seconds. So what's great about this, the launch really does have a kick to it. It feels a lot faster than that actually. But this is one of them rides where, Vekoma were really innovating at the time. We've got to thank Vekoma for what they were doing then, for some of the incredible rides that they're building now. Some much bigger rides and coasters with crazy elements. I think of the likes of Phoenix that opened. That's an absolutely brilliant ride at Farup Summerland. Along with that as well, I think that the fact that they've just built Iron Rattler out at Six Flags Skidoo City, that for me is probably their best coaster, the best Vekoma that I've ever been on. That's a tilt coaster, but it's all the other elements after. We've got to thank the likes of Formula that opened, over 10 years ago now, for what they did at the time, because they were really experimenting with new trains and Vestas trains and launch technology, stuff that Vekoma hadn't really done. They've come a long way since the likes of the SLC, some of their old looping coasters, and of course like the Vekoma corkscrews and boomerangs. They really have come a long, long way. So yeah, Formula is an excellent ride. That launch is brilliant, and then you're straight up into one of 3 inversions as well, which you take at a nice speed. At the back, it's pretty intense, and then a lot of the other elements are twists and turns low to the ground. It's not a very high coaster, this one. It's very low. It's got some little tunnels and things around. They're only not even proper tunnels. They're only built out of support structures with tents over. Obviously, they didn't have much budget for theming at this park at the time. But still, they got the ride hardware in and they built some brilliant rides, and Formula's just got a good kick to it, and I think it's a very enjoyable ride. Yeah, 3 inversions total, and yeah, just a great coaster, very smooth, but again, not too intense. It's one of them, it's a good kind of first kind of step in to the world of coasters for people who've just reached the height restriction and fancy going on something a bit more thrilling, then they can go on something like this. And I think that's a really nice thing about Energylandia. They've got that perfect mix, that kind of all the way from the tiny little junior coasters through to the massive thrill rides as well. Right then, into 4th place then now, and this is a water coaster called Speed. It's an intimate water coaster. It's been operating since 2018. What makes this ride is the sheer height of it. It's absolutely massive. It's 164 foot tall, and when you're at the top of there, the views are amazing. Now, it's got a great themed station, and it feels like, you know, 2018 was a bit of a turning point for starting to add more theming around Energylandia. But yeah, I do like the station, like this kind of fortress, and then you dispatch on these very comfortable boats, restraints, you know, you've got loads of room around at the side, which is awesome. On the front of this, you can get pretty wet as well. But yeah, you kind of meander around this little section. It kind of feels a little bit like whitewater rafting or something, you know, as you're going around in the trough, all nicely themed at the side. And then you make your way to that huge lift. How this works is, it's a vertical lift hill, but it does move out to the side a little bit to allow the other conveyor lift to come down. So yeah, as one's going up, one's coming down, so they kind of move out in the middle just to allow the boats to pass. That's a cool little feature. I love how that was designed from Intamin. And then you reach the top, 164 feet, looking out over the park. You're facing forwards out towards the back of the park where you've got Abyssus and Zadra. So the views from up there are excellent. It kind of acts as an observation tower in a way as you're going up. However, what goes up must come down. And then you go down a pretty good drop. It's not really steep or anything. Yeah, it's only that sort of angle, but it is good when you're coming down there. You get some great views, really builds up the speed down there at the bottom as well, which is excellent. But yeah, it's a 45-degree drop, making your way down from 164 feet, then into a little splash section there, not too much, you don't really get that wet there. Then you back up into a bit of coaster section, does a few turns, and yeah, big wide turnarounds on this ride before dropping down into that final descent where you can get absolutely soaked. I'm talking like Valhalla, you know, tidal wave sort of wetness, like you can get absolutely dripping wet through as you're coming down there at the end. But that does make it is a water ride after all, and luckily on my trips out there to Poland to ride this, I've been quite lucky with the weather. It's been pretty good, so it's been perfect for the water rides, and especially for them rides on Speed. On the front, a massive wave can come over, and yeah, you can get absolutely dripping wet through, but that does add to it. It's a good fun water coaster. Some nice theming round as well. You've got the big lake which acts as the reservoir for the ride as well, in the middle, and yeah, it was really a turning point when this opened for adding more theming and scenery around the rides. But yeah, that's Speed water coaster in 4th place. Right then, we're down now into the final 3 of my countdown here from Energylandia, and in 3rd place it is Abyssus. This is a Vekoma shockwave coaster that opened in 2021. It features 2 launches, 4 inversions, and it's got a top speed of 62 miles per hour. Again, this was another kind of innovation from Vekoma of their former ride, Formula, that they built a few years prior. They really wanted to, you know, try different things and new models. They did the Space Warp. This is the Shockwave model, and this was them really kind of showed how much they've come a long way, you know, in that period from when they opened Formula back in 2016 through to when this opened in 2021. Now, with this ride, the launches have got a good kick to them. My favourite part is that kind of second launch, making your way up into the inversion. It does slow it down a little bit before that launch, but it does mean that you get the full kick of it then. And the ride isn't like ridiculously intense or anything. Again, you know, it doesn't feel like too forceful, this ride, but you do get some nice pops of airtime because of how it's designed. And what I love is the theme. It's in Aqualantis, so again, you've got all the water around, the rock work, that all adds to the ride. You kind of dipping out around by waterfalls underneath the station building, which is cool. The trains are nicely designed. They're actually a little boat at the front, which is cool. And also having all that theming around does add to the experience of this ride, in my opinion. So many rides rely a lot on the theming for me, because if they were just like, you know, slapped on a piece of land and there's not much around it, it wouldn't be the same. Whereas I love rides that have got a bit more about them, and that's certainly what Abyssus does have. It does really make it. The 4 inversions on there are all pretty good, and yeah, take them with some nice speed as well. Some of them are very fast actually, going through them different inversions. But no, Abyssus is an excellent ride, and yes, certainly had to be in 3rd place for me in this list. Right then, we're down now to the top 2 rides, and in second place for me, it is Hyperion, not Hyperia, Hyperion, that opened in 2018, Intamin Mega Coaster. It's like, look at that, they opened this the same year as Speed, so much rapid expansion. Then the year after, they opened Zadra, like all these massive investments coming in, which is crazy. Now, this is actually the tallest lift hill in Europe, the second tallest roller coaster in Europe after Red Force at Ferrari Land at Portaventura World in Spain. But yeah, tallest lift hill. Like conventional lift, that 269-foot drop is just phenomenal, especially when you're down there on the back. You really get pulled over, really whip down the drop, but then on the front you get the hang time and you get the views as well. I also love how you don't just drop down and it kind of peters out, you go underneath into the tunnel as well, which is built underground. That's great and adds a bit more to the drop, the overall feel of it, and just that force. Straight up then into a big airtime hill where you take with some good speed, and then you're all the way down to the back where you actually get an inversion on this ride. You get a dive drop, which does act as the turnaround. I think that's really cool. Instead of just having like a standard turnaround, like a big helix or something, they did a dive drop, which is very good, and you get some kick on there as well. You wouldn't normally see a hypercoaster have an inversion like that, so I think that's really good how it dives drops down right down there at the back, and then of course starts to bring you back in the other direction. Along with that point, there's a bit of a wave turn to the side, a lot of low down elements of this ride, and a water splash as well. The fact you've come from so high and you reach that top speed and you're coming down, that's what really makes it. I think the fact that, you know, you're going around this ride at some speed and you're then at lower sections, it just feels very, very intense, very forceful. I know for some people they might find it a bit too much, but I really like that. The fact you're going around these elements at sheer speed, quite low to the ground. It's not really an airtime coaster. There's a few bits here and there, but it's more about the speed, the sheer exhilaration. You get that airtime on the back on the first drop, that first hill, and a couple of other bits, but it's more about the speed and just how you take in these different elements as you're heading round on Hyperion. It's an excellent ride, and yeah, always love getting back on there. It's definitely a back row ride for the sheer intensity on there as well. I do like front row for the views, but you do have to wear goggles on there now for some reason. I don't really know why, so yeah, it's one of them that I'd rather probably ride down on the back on Hyperion. Right then, into my number 1 spot at Energylandia, my favourite coaster, and it is of course Zadra. It didn't really need a big introduction, you knew it was coming. Rocky Mountain Construction hybrid coaster, but this was a ground up RMC as well. Obviously what RMC kind of started off by doing was you know, converting former wooden roller coasters, and then now they're building ground up coasters as well. I'm just hoping, by the way, that we see some more stuff from RMC. I'm getting a bit worried because no one seems to be buying them, no one's converting rides, no one's building ground up. Hope that RMC are okay and we're going to be seeing more in the future because I love their rides, absolutely phenomenal coasters. This opened in 2019, so it's like back-to-back coaster years. You know, they opened 2 the year before and then they opened this in 2019. Massive investments, and yeah, it's 206 foot tall, massive structure, and really does look the part as well, doesn't it, this ride? You walk up to it, you get them views of it, and it just looks amazing, it really does. And then of course you drop down off the lift hill, on the back it's amazing drop, one of the best first drops in the world for me, and it's the sheer speed of this ride, 75 miles an hour as you make your way through some serious ejector airtime hills. The airtime that you get on this is great. I love the layout of it. The turnaround section's really good, 3 inversions in total, and you come into the brake run at the end with some sheer speed still. That's the thing with this ride, they could have easily done a couple more helixes and drops, but no, I think they wanted you to come into that brake run really fast, so you just had that wow moment and you were like, wow, what has just happened over the last kind of minute as I've been going around on this insane ride? That's what Zadra does so well. It's the wow factor, it's the speed, it's the airtime, it's the inversions. My favourite of which is probably the stall. Love that, one of my favourite stalls out there. I think my favourite stall is still on Hyperion now at Thorpe Park, but this is an excellent stall and was my favourite for a number of years. You just take it at beautiful pacing, and for me, a stall on a coaster is always better down on the front row. The pacing that you go up into that is just absolutely excellent, and yeah, love that element. So yeah, it's always good getting to experience that. On the back row as well, you really get the whip round and going through all the different inversions. Honestly, Zadra is certainly one of the best roller coasters out there in my opinion, and definitely had to be my number 1 ride at Energylandia in Poland. But there we go. I would love to know, what is your top 10 down below in the video comments? Top 10 rides at this amazing park. Just the fact they've grown so much since 2014. Like I said, I'd love to see them go back and refine different areas, but I guess we'll see what happens in the future. A bit about the expansion and things for Energylandia. A few things have been cancelled in the past, like the tilt coaster we're going to get. Obviously, that's gone somewhere else. So, yeah, it's one of them. Are Energylandia still going to be expanding as much? They have really slowed down the past few years. I know the park was getting funding like from the EU to be this kind of like big tourist destination for Poland. I think that might have stopped or at least slowed down massively now. So we're not seeing as much expansion. So I guess we'll see what happens in the future. But fingers crossed for some big new rides and just improving areas. I think the whole area at the front where you first come in, it needs some new like attractions, new layout, just to really bring that alive. Because it feels very kind of cheap and tacky at the front compared to that when you get further back into the park where it's got a lot more in them different themed areas. But let me know your thoughts. What do you think is going to come in the future? And of course, your top 10 at Energylandia as well, down below in the video comments. If you have enjoyed watching, be sure to give the video a big thumbs up. Really do appreciate it, and it really helps up the channel. And of course, subscribe and turn them notifications on for lots more videos like this. I know there was a lot of requests for more top 10 videos, lots more coming, so stay tuned for those as we continue on into 2026 here on the channel. But that leaves me with one final thing to say. Get out there and keep on riding. See you in the next video.